Some coffees don't make a great first impression. You open the bag, smell it, and something feels off. Not bad, just underwhelming. It doesn't smell rich, it doesn't smell deep. Sometimes it barely smells like anything at all. And in that moment, most people already decide what they think. This is not going to be good, but here's the interesting part. Some of those coffees end up doing the exact opposite. Because once you brew them and take that first sip, the experience changes completely. The aroma didn't impress you, but the flavor does. And that contrast is what catches people off guard, because they were expecting disappointment and got something better instead. So today, we're looking at 6 coffees that don't smell like much at first, but taste better than people expect. And the first one is probably the most obvious example of this. Folgers Classic Roast. Almost everyone has seen it. And because of that, almost everyone thinks they already know what it is. Basic, average, nothing special. And to be fair, when you open it, the smell doesn't help. It's not strong, it's not complex, it doesn't have that rich aroma people associate with good coffee. If anything, it feels a little flat. And that's exactly why people underestimate it. But once it's brewed, that's where things shift. The flavor is smoother than expected. Balanced, easy to drink. There's no aggressive bitterness. Nothing harsh. It just works. And that's what surprises people. Because they were expecting worse. Folgers is not trying to impress you. It's trying to be consistent. And sometimes consistency ends up tasting better than expectation, especially when you just want a cup of coffee that does its job. Now the next one follows a very similar pattern. Maxwell House Original Roast. Another classic. Another coffee people assume they understand. And again, the smell doesn't do it any favors. You open the can, and the aroma is light. Almost too light. It doesn't stand out. It doesn't give you that feeling of quality right away. So, naturally, expectations drop. People assume the taste will be just as forgettable. But once it's brewed, it delivers something different. The flavor is simple, but smoother than expected. It's clean, familiar, easy. It doesn't try to be complex. It doesn't try to compete with premium brands. But it also doesn't disappoint. And for a lot of people, that's exactly what they want. Something that doesn't demand attention. Something that just feels right. And again, this is where expectation plays a big role. Because when people expect very little, even a decent cup feels surprisingly good. Now, the next one is interesting for a different reason. Because people don't underestimate the brand. They underestimate the product. Dunkin ground coffee. Most people think of Dunkin as a place. Drive, dash through, quick coffee. Nothing complicated. So when they see a bag of Dunkin coffee in a store, they don't expect much from it. And again, the smell reinforces that idea. It's light, not very intense. It doesn't hit you with that strong aroma so right away. People assume the taste will be weak. But once it's brewed, that's where it changes. The flavor is smooth, slightly sweet, very easy to drink. No sharp bitterness, no overpowering roast, just a balanced cup. And that's what surprises people, because it tastes better than it smells. And more importantly, it tastes better than what they were expecting. And if you've ever had that experience, you know exactly what it feels like. That moment when you take the first sip and think, this is actually better than I thought. That moment changes how you approach the next coffee. Because now you're not just relying on the smell anymore. You're paying attention to what actually happens in the cup. And the next one on this list is where a lot of people get surprised for that exact reason. Nescafé Clásico. Instant coffee. already comes with a reputation. Most people assume it's weak, or flat, or just something you use when there's no other option. And when you open a jar of Nescafé, the smell doesn't challenge that idea. It's light, a little dry, not very expressive. It doesn't fill the space. It doesn't give you that feeling of this is going to be good. So expectations stay low. But once you mix it with hot water, that's where things start to shift. The flavor comes through stronger than expected. There's a bit of boldness, a classic roasted note, and more body than the smell suggested. It's not complex, it's not premium, but it's not as weak as people think either. And that's what catches people off guard, because it performs better than what they were expecting. Now, the next coffee is one that people often ignore, not because they don't know it, but because they don't take it seriously. Chock full of nuts. Even the name sounds a bit unusual. And when you open the can, the smell doesn't really stand out. It's soft, a little dry, nothing that immediately grabs your attention. So most people assume the taste will be just as forgettable. But once it's brewed, it delivers something different. It's smooth. There's a light nuttiness, a slightly sweet finish, and almost no harsh bitterness. It's easy to drink, comfortable, familiar, and that's where it wins. Because it doesn't try to impress you. Eat, husk, quickly, delivers a good experience. And when that happens, it feels better than expected. Now there's something important happening here that most people don't notice. These coffees are not trying to compete with high-end specialty brands. They're not trying to stand out with bold aromas or complex profiles. They're built differently. They redesigned to be consistent, balanced, easy. And because of that, they often get underestimated, especially at the first impression. Now the last one on this list is probably the best example of this. Because people think they already know exactly what it is. Premium roast. Most people associate it with fast food. Quick. Coffee. Basic. Nothing memorable. So when they see it on the shelf, they already have an opinion. And when they open the bag, the smell doesn't change. It's light. Soft. Not very deep. So again, expectations stay low. But once it's brewed, that's where the surprise happens. The flavor is smooth, balanced, slightly creamy. No aggressive bitterness, no burnt aftertaste. Just a clean, easy cup that works. And for a lot of people, that's unexpected. Because they judged it before giving it a chance. And that's really what this entire list is showing. Smell is not always the full story. Brand is not always the full story. An expectation can completely change how you experience a coffee. Because when you expect something to be bad, even a decent cup feels surprisingly good. And when you expect something to be amazing, sometimes it doesn't live up to Italiano. So the real difference is not always in the coffee itself. It's in what you were expecting before you even took that first sip. Good. Because once you understand that, you stop judging coffee too early, and that alone can change your entire experience. Most people decide what they think about a coffee before they even drink it. They open the bag. They smell Italiano, and in a few seconds, they've already made up their mind. But, as you've seen here, that first impression is not always reliable. In fact, it can be misleading, because aroma and flavor don't always show up at the same moment. Some coffees release more of their character during brewing. Hot water pulls out oils, sugars, and deeper notes that you simply don't get from smelling dry grounds. So when a coffee smells light, that doesn't mean the flavor will be weak. It just means you haven't experienced it yet. And that's an important shift, because instead of asking, "Does this smell good?" you start asking, how does this actually taste? And that changes everything. Another thing that plays a big role here is roast style. Some coffees are roasted to create a strong, immediate aroma. Dark, smoky, intense. They smell powerful the moment you open them. But that doesn't always translate into a better cup. Sometimes it just means the aroma is doing more work than the flavor. On the other hand, smoother, more balanced roasts don't hit you as hard in the beginning. They don't try to impress you right away. But once brewed, they're easier to drink, more consistent, less aggressive. And for many people, that ends up being more enjoyable over time, especially if you drink coffee every day. Now there's one more factor that matters more than people realize. Expectation. If you expect something to be bad, you lower the bar. So when it turns out decent, it feels better than it actually is. And if you expect something to be amazing, you raise the bar. So even if it's good, it can feel disappointing. That's why some of the coffees we talked about today work so well. They start low and then quietly overdeliver. And that creates a stronger impression than something that starts high and just meets expectations. So here's a simple shift you can make. Next time you open a bag and the smell doesn't impress you, don't decide right away. Brew it. Taste it. Give it a fair chance. Because that's where the real experience happens. And chances are, you'll find at least one coffee that surprises you. Something you would have ignored before. And those are usually the ones that end up staying in your routine. Now, I'm curious. What's a coffee that didn't smell like much at first, but ended up tasting better than you expected? Let me know in the comments. I read every single one. And if you enjoy this kind of content, simple, honest breakdowns of everyday coffee, make sure you're subscribed, because in the next video, we're going to look at the opposite side of this. Coffees that smell amazing when you open the bag, but don't quite deliver in the cup. And some of those might surprise you even more.